What's your best whiskey drinking song?
Whichever one I'm playing at about 2 a.m.
The last one?
This is going to be awesome.
The best venue in the world is Red Rocks. I've drank a lot of whiskey, Fred. That's great. Let's go with it.
A big thank you to our sponsors for making this show possible.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fred Minnick Show. This is a special edition. I've got the whole team of Gypsy here with me. Eric, Church, Raj, and Ari. Good to see you all.
Good to be here, Fred.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Poured a little bit of this here Gypsy double barrel, the tribute. And Ari was just telling me before we started rolling that it's made with an ancient alien corn, you know, with some extra oils and such. Tell us about the corn. I'm actually BSing, but tell us about the corn.
Yeah, no.
Is it called alien corn?
It's not
is it Aztecian corn?
Well, so all corn comes from the Oaxaca region originally, but this...
Why did I know you were going to know the answer to that?
But this, one of the corns that we use in tribute is called Cherokee White Eagle corn. And it was developed over the course of hundreds of years by the Cherokee in North Carolina before they were displaced, before they were forcibly removed into Oklahoma. And it's a variety that Cherokee White Eagle corn, it's a sacred crop. And it's also absolutely delicious and beautiful and distills really, really well. It has an aroma and a viscosity and a flavor that you don't find in modern commodity whiskey. And that's why we included it in
So how you like that,
blend.
Eric? You're like helping to bring back like a near extinct corn in Gypsy. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel good,
Yeah.
Fred. I did. A lot of the thing about with this is Ari, when we first got together, he was kind of the mad scientist guy, you know, when we talked. And one thing I realized pretty quick is he had such a passion about finding these unique ways to present whiskey or bourbon, which I love drinking. That passion is what drew me to Ari. I think Raj and I both. And I did not even know that. I'm sitting here learning that right now with the Aztecian alien corn. I thought we were bringing corn from Mars there for a second.
Oh, hey, do you believe?
He said alien corn. I went, hey, you know.
Do you believe in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens? I believe in the possibility of aliens.
Yeah.
I've seen some weird stuff.
At your shows, I bet.
Yeah, I've seen a few there. Yeah, I've seen 3 or 4 backstage. I'm confident. I'm confident.
So how did you get into whiskey?
When I started out, like 25 years ago, whatever, just as far as the drinking part, it was always something I would do right before I would play a show, even before I was able to legally do it. And I would have at that time, I would have a Jack Daniels, and I would always do a little bit of Diet Coke with it, because when you have straight grain alcohol, if I drink this way, I normally like it with an ice cube or something, but it's hard to do when you sing. It's hard on the vocal cords. So that was always kind of my starter. That was the thing that I always had. It let me know it was showtime, and it's still that way now. It's kind of an upper for me. You know, a lot of people drink whiskey when they wind down, they relax. When I drink whiskey, it's letting my body know after 25 years of training that it's about to be showtime, we're about to go. So it's a little bit of a different thing for me.
Was there something you would have on stage with you at all times for when you were done? Did you have something special, or was it just Jack and like Diet Coke?
Jack and Diet Coke early on. I went to a little bit of a single barrel thing later on when we could afford it, which was years later. But yeah, that was kind of always my thing on stage. And then now I drink Explorer on stage, which is beside you there and I do Diet Coke with it just so I can consume it on stage.
Now, there's been this whole movement of celebrity whiskeys, and I know there's any number of them that come out, but one thing that kind of hit me differently was how good Gypsy was. Did great in my Ascot Awards. It made my top 100 when it first came out. I mean, other reviewers too really loved it. Like, how did you put this together? Like, what was your how did you put together such a good team, if you will, around the whiskey?
I think the number one thing there is this is not a celebrity whiskey. I mean, I'm not sure I believe in celebrity whiskeys in a way, because it's any celebrity, it's a licensing deal. Rather, you can put your name on whiskey, you can put your name on anything.
Yeah.
The way we created this was, it was really passion. It was trying to create something that from a brand level wasn't a celebrity whiskey. It was about trying to build the best product, the most unique product, a product that wasn't in the marketplace, and then give it the best bottling that we could give it to present to the consumer. So I think we just approached it different. Raj and I met and talked about it. We both had a love of whiskey, and we both had a love of building something that was unique and different. And then we met Ari, and Ari was the vision and the mechanism. He was the one that was able to get done what we wanted we conceived, right? And I think that the biggest thing about Whiskey JYPSI is everything musically for me is it's creativity. I've had a number of people ask me, hey, why not one bottle, one brand, right? Which in a lot of businesses is the right move. And that's great creatively for the first one, but I like the ability to maneuver and find different blends and different ways to present your product under the same umbrella that's unique and different that people can enjoy. So the creativity part of this whole thing is the thing that I've been most interested in.
What's your best whiskey drinking song?
Whichever one I'm playing at about 2 a.m. on my couch, that's the one. The last one? It's the last one.
Has there been a song that came to you because of whiskey?
A ton. I would say 80. I got a little Hemingway in me where probably 85, 90% of the songs that I've written were drinking whiskey.
So everything's been influenced by a little dram.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. I like that.
Yeah, cheers.
Now, Raj, how did you meet Eric?
Oh boy. So we were on a golf trip that a friend of ours organized, and there's, what were there, 12, 16 guys on that trip? And he was telling me who's in there and brought up Eric's name, and I said, who's Eric? I know him. And he said, he's a country music singer. I said, I don't know. Don't listen to that genre right now.
What do you listen to?
I was kind of listening to everything else, although I looked
techno and
Everything but me, Fred.
everything but Eric.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I honestly, I love Billy Joel to house music. I mean, I kind of had a pretty, but I had forgotten. I actually listened to country music growing up. I had Johnny Cash albums. I had The Gambler on tape. I just totally had forgotten, but that's a separate part of the story. So we got paired up a lot during that golf trip, and every frickin' morning he was late. And I'm sitting in the golf cart.
Every morning Eric was late?
Every morning. I'm sure you're shocked about that.
I was late for this just to let everybody know. They're not going to get that part, but I was a little late for this too. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm sitting in the golf cart.
It's turning into a counseling session here.
No, but it's in the Dominican Republic where it's beautiful weather. I'm just sitting there waiting. He'd come out with a couple of beers every morning. I'm like, all right, he's okay. Yeah, so we'd have our Coronas, we'd go to the golf course, and we'd played our rounds, and that night we were drinking and just, talking about life and just bonded and became friends. So, and had a lot of other fun trips. And
you started listening to his music afterward?
I did, and I was just blown away because his music, the lyrics, the creativity, the diversity of it, I mean, it's really special. And, he was talking about when he goes on stage, there's nothing like it. You're sitting in the back talking to him, and it's Eric, and you're just kind of shooting the shit and having fun. And the first time I went with him, we're at a stadium. I think we were in Louisville. We're walking. He's like, "Hey, come with me." So I don't know where we're going. We're walking. All of a sudden, I hear noise. We're walking. We're getting closer, and we're walking into the ramp, and there's this massive crowd. And he says, "All right, I'll see you in a little bit." Puts on his glasses up, and then he stops on stage, and he's a completely different person. Starts singing. I'm like, wow. This is just, I was blown away.
By the way, is that your thing with the glasses? Like, do you turn into like a different person when you put those on?
It's a little bit of a uniform type thing for me. It started out, I never, put on the glasses and said this is going to be like a thing, I actually wear contacts, and I have a condition with my eyes where they don't lubricate very well. So when I would play these bars and clubs early on, they had the Parcan lights, not dissimilar to this, but they were the really hot lights. And I would go out on stage, and my contacts during the show would pop out. They would just fall, I was blind half the show. So early on in my career, one of my band guys was like, "Why don't you wear shades? See if that helps." So one night in the middle of nowhere, I put shades on, and it kind of became a thing. The contacts, first of all, didn't pop out, but it started to become a little bit of a scene change for me. When I crossed the lines, kind of like an athlete, it was a way for me to cross the lines and be able to be a different person on stage.
It's kind of like my ascot. Like, I take that off.
It's a
whole
cape.
different person.
It's a cape.
Yeah. Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you get hooked into this? Because I've known you for a while, Ari, and when you attach yourself to this brand, I was like, all right, that's a nice move for him.
I got a phone call one day saying, hey, we're looking to, it was from Raj, we're looking to start a new whiskey company, and we want to approach whiskey making a little differently than most of the brands, than most any other brand out there. We're looking for creativity, we want fun, we want to bring a deeper sense of what whiskey can be to the market. And Raj, you were the synergy between creativity and science here, I think, was really key. That's kind of my approach to whiskey making. I started making whiskey or blending whiskey when I was a bartender.
Mm-hmm.
You have hundreds of whiskeys behind you at the bar, and you're able to concoct new blends that no one's had before. And then later, when I started working at Michigan State University, I realized there was a lot of science to whiskey making. And so when Raj called and said that he and Eric were conceiving of a whiskey company, and did I have any ideas or some kind of vision that could maybe put flesh on the bones of what they were thinking about, it was really compelling. I get phone calls every once in a while from people that want to start whiskey companies, and my default answer is, let me put you in touch with somebody else, because usually what they want to do, what Eric was just saying, we want a product, we want it to be as consistent as possible, we want to scale it as big as possible, as quickly as possible. That's not very interesting to me. But what these guys were talking about with their vision, it was something I could really connect with.
We were pretty clear with Ari. We had no parameters or box we were going to put him in. And we kind of geeked out on the phone a little bit about just science and the way different chemical compounds could affect taste, because I have a little bit of a healthcare background. And we just kind of clicked, because we said, all right, we want the best product possible. Because he kept asking, what are the parameters? And I said, no budget, no parameters. We want the best product possible. And we just started talking about all the different ways. I mean, I honestly think whiskey is the best category for being creative, because you have so many levers to pull.
I agree with that.
Versus vodka or tequila. You have a ton of levers. But
There's no creativity in vodka. Let's be clear.
Zero.
None.
And to me,
It's clear.
It's odorless, tasteless, and it's disgusting.
I totally agree with that.
yeah. But you have so many different, and we've been experimenting. We have a lab which we can talk about, where we've just got woods from all over the world, whiskeys from all over the world that we can just play with. So. So we clicked. I mean, it was.
And you all decided to start in the middle of the pandemic, which is always
Great time.
a wonderful time.
Highly recommended.
But honestly though, Eric, I think that also is if you want to do something, why not do it when you have the greatest adversity against you?
I agree with that. And I think that there's a lot of, with this entire launch and where we are now, it's been adversity, but we've done a lot of those things. Still, our main focus was the product, and putting out the best product that we could put out in a unique and creative way. That's never changed. So the challenges that have came, we've never strayed 1 minute from that vision. And I think that being here today and seeing the last 2 or 3 years, you can see that, you can taste that, you can smell that. That's what this entire journey's been for us.
So what's the difference between Explorer and Tribute, the one we're sipping on now? I want to crack that one open.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tribute, which we're releasing imminently, is our most approachable, not just in terms of character, but also in terms of price point. It's our most scalable product. Explorer, which was the second product we released, what you're seeing there is the first in a series of true explorations through whiskey. So Explorer is our take on wood-finished whiskeys. Early on, Eric made a comment when we were thinking about the direction Explorer would go in, that we found inspiration in the troubadour tradition and the singer-songwriter tradition, and it started a little bit of a history lesson for us. Learned that the first troubadours, the first singer-songwriters 700 years ago, came out of the Transe forest. So we started looking at woods from Transe and Appalachia and other places where the troubadour tradition was really strong, and started in our lab playing together with different wood combinations. And so this is a wood finished product, 103 proof, that also speaks to who we are and things that inspire us as a brand.
Appalachian.
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 It's Appalachian. Let's get it
Appalachian
right.
in French oak. So instead of using French and American oak, which is I think what a lot of brands would write, we're very specific in our Explorer series of where the wood comes from. So this comes from particular forests and particular oak stands.
And you're working with what cooperage?
With this one, we're working with Redoux.
Going with a little bit of a smaller independent there.
We're going with smaller independent that have that very tight controls on quality and production. So this is wood character. We all like wine as well. So oak from the Tranche is frequently used in Bordeaux and in Cognac. That character comes through in bourbon really well. We're unaware of people who have used oak from this particular forest in bourbon before, so we thought it would be a nice departure.
And that's what I drink with the Coke Zero on stage, right there.
Oh, you moved up from Diet Coke to Coke Zero.
Yeah, it's fancy.
That's
Yeah, I still do Diet Coke, but Coke Zero is special shows, you know.
Yeah, I don't the Diet Coke. I've never been able to do Diet Coke and whiskey. Never been able to do it. But Coke and whiskey, I can do. Like I don't know. I think that's a palate thing. When you do a whiskey and Coke, what are you doing?
So I don't do a lot of whiskey and Coke.
No,
I do
imagine
whiskey
not.
and Verner's. Verner's is the ginger ale where I come from.
Yeah.
It's such a Michigan thing.
Yeah.
And Explorer and Verner's has been my go-to for a long time.
Raj?
I've been doing ginger beer, believe it or not.
Okay.
Little
You're going
Kentucky
hard.
Mule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm at a baseball game, I'll get a Coke and Jim Beam.
But
or
your
something.
normal way to drink it is what? Is it neat or is it
Neat.
neat?
If I'm hanging out with some friends and there's no, it depends on what I'm doing. Like if.
Well, I want elaboration on that, Fred.
Yeah. So.
My turn.
So I do so much analytical tasting. Like when I'm just hanging out with friends and there's no need to be on. Like I got to break down the whiskey. Like I can just have a good time. I'm adding ice. Yeah. I'll add some ice. Sometimes I'll still keep it neat.
Right.
But if I'm going to a show, like when I come see you at a show, the concessionaires usually jacking up. Jack Daniels and Jim Beam to be $16 a pour, so I may or may not have several flasks going into said show, and we'll have a little glass and everything.
Yeah.
Back when we used to be able to bring food into the Kentucky Derby, I would make little flask sandwiches, and I would have sneak it in that way. But although nobody watching this program should be sneaking alcohol into venues for concerts, because it does take money out of the pocket of hardworking promoters, concessionaires. And we don't want to do that, Eric.
He needs it too.
PSA.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble with that one. But anyway, I akin a project like this to like a small music venue versus like a festival or a large one. This is the Ryman, if you will, like what you all are
Great
doing.
analogy.
And it just to that point, do you have a favorite small venue you like to play in?
I do. I mean, I would say the Ryman's certainly one of them. It's not a small venue, but the best venue in the world is Red Rocks.
Oh yeah.
In Colorado. I've never played a venue like that. It's about 9,000 or 10,000 people, but it doesn't feel that way when you play it. So that's my favorite place to play.
What's the difference between playing a venue and working in the studio? I always find that interesting.
Yeah, there's a huge difference, mainly because of the crowd. In the studio, you don't have that energy of the people and the spontaneity and the one take, and you're kind of dancing on the edge of a limb. In the studio, you have a little security blanket there where you can do it again, you can get it right. That doesn't really work, when you're playing live. And I love live more, because I believe that when I play, to answer your question, when I played in the studio, you get the musicians there, you play the song, and then we'll go 3, 2, 1, kind of like we do here, action, and everybody will play. I've always found that the nervous energy on the first take, even though nothing is exactly right, it's not perfect, is the best energy for the song, because people are playing from here and not here. After we play through it 4 or 5 times, this goes away, and they know it, and they're following along as they go. But that first time is the one that has the most nuance of creativity.
Kind of like the first blend is sometimes the best.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
we've
always.
experienced that. Not always, but sometimes you nail it right away, and then you make 10 or 20 additional iterations, and you're like, no, let's just go back to where we were.
Now, you said, you told me once that Eric's music had a kind of an impact on you a little bit. You share that?
Yeah, Eric's, and you know this, of course, that the concept for Legacy, which was the first product we put out, really, I think, was the product of listening to Eric's music. I did a real deep dive. I had an amazing time getting into your music, listening to every album in sequence with my good headphones and my most comfortable chair. It was a very special night, and I felt really inspired listening to it. And listening to your music, I mentioned this before, I heard all these different musical traditions being woven together in a new kind of way, where on its surface it sounds like really good country music, but once you dig in deeper, you hear these elements of hip hop, classic rock. I heard a lot of Bob Seger, who's someone who I've always really loved. All these different musical elements are coming together, and it made me think, what would a whiskey be like that would take different whiskey making traditions and kind of weave them together into an American type whiskey? And that's where the concept for our reconstructed mash bill came from. So Legacy, each Legacy that we release, pour these together.
You got a new blend there.
Yeah. I can't wait to try this one.
We just came up with
The double Legacy.
Trick Explorer.
It's a limited time offering. Yeah, so listening to Eric's music and listening to the way he was able to weave together different musical traditions inspired the concept of creating an international cross-category blended whiskey. But then using traditional American mash bills as the proportions. So what you have in front of you is a riff on a 36% high rye mash bill. It's 60% corn forward spirit, 36% rye forward spirit, and then 4% single malt. Then we just have to figure out, once we have the proportions, we have to figure out what are the spirits that go into it. So this one, true cross-category international blend. So spirits from the United States, from Canada, and from India.
That one's different. It's a different.
Definitely different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that really, because it has these different components, which I think are pretty harmonious in this ratio, but as you add water and different compounds come out of solution as you start adding water, or as ice melts, new flavors come out. Fig starts to present itself. Tobacco starts to present itself.
Yeah.
And so it really evolves in the glass. It opens like a book.
When Ari first sent this to us, because we do this, he sends us samples, and we do hundreds of iterations of these products. I remember the first time he sent it, I had to take a call. I poured it. We were on the phone, tasted. I came back 10 minutes later, and I went and tasted it again. I'm like, Ari, is this like wine? You know, because he's our guru for explaining how this works. Because I said, this tastes completely different 10 minutes later than it did when I first poured it. And he explained how, is it aerification similar to wine?
It finds,
That's nice.
The air affects it. It
Well,
finds
Indian single malt too is like, those are coming off of those are low distillation proofs, so you're having a lot of, probably have a lot of like oils from that barley and stuff.
Yeah, so the way it's distilled with low proof, they bring a lot of oil over, but also the conditions. I mean, this is a 10-year-old Indian single malt. Yeah. So from Goa.
And the 5-year-old won double gold, right?
And the 5-year-old won double gold, yeah.
The same brand.
The 10-year-old one, it's so reduced in a barrel. You think in the United States, a 10-year-old barrel might have 30 gallons of liquid in it. This had between 15 and 20 gallons in it because of evaporation. But like a tomato sauce that you cook all day that reduces and the flavors intensify, 4% of Indian single malt in this blend was really all it needed because it contributes so much of that character.
Well, I think the first one had 10%, and we were like, whoa,
It was a little much.
It overpowered it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is fascinating. We got a little bit more here. We got some stuff in these glasses too.
Yeah, those glasses are actually the individual components of Legacy 2. So you can taste what the blend is like. Okay. Or you can taste each individual component and how they
turn into a drinking game.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the cups?
There's a new song coming out.
You got a ping pong ball and cups?
All right, here's the goal. We're going to write a new Eric Church song right here over all this.
We can do that. The thing I like about this is, I'm still a novice guy, but I can tell a distinct difference between all three. You know, even somebody that is not you.
Well,
I can tell that.
I would say like I realize you consider yourself a novice, but I mean you were affiliated with Jack Daniels for a long time.
I've drank a lot of whiskey, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what you pick, I can probably win the night. So that's what I'm saying. I'm good at that. I'm a PRO as far as that.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Some of the aliens he saw on the backstage were me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But for real though, like you were like 10 years ago before everybody was getting into whiskey, like. I remember my friends at Jack Daniels were like, "Hey man, Eric Church is just a big Jack Daniels fan." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Yeah. That was before like anybody affiliated like the CMAs or anyone was.
Yeah. Now everybody does.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
And you were actually kind of late to the game a little bit if you think about it in comparison to other people at your level.
Yeah.
Is that just because you were just such a fan?
No, I didn't want to be. Well, a lot of it was. I didn't want it to be a celebrity brand. I was looking for the right opportunity. That I have a great relationship with Jack Daniels, still drink Jack Daniels.
Of course.
And, so I wanted an opportunity to do something creatively that wasn't just, hey, let's just take what we've got here. And listen, I've done so much work with Jack Daniels. They've been great with even Whiskey JYPSI. They've been great partners to help, and they're very helpful with what we're doing and supportive. So I think for me, it just wasn't trying to go and take a name and slap a name on the front of something and go, hey, if you like Jack Daniels, you'll love this. I mean, that was my problem. I wanted it to be something that was unique and different.
And when we were talking about the concept, that was his first thing. Is like, I really love working with these guys. We talked about what he liked about it, what he wanted to do differently, and part of it was the ability to be creative and do multiple products and really kind of carve your own path out of it.
And that's what I love about single barrel. That's what I went to drinking with Jack Daniels, because every barrel is a different character,
that's
right? And that was what I enjoyed about that. So this was a way to do that with our.
I didn't even know this was your whiskey when it first came out.
Great.
Like, cause
that's the idea.
That's the
I mean, there was no nothing on here.
Mm-mm.
Let's see if it's on here on the back.
It's not.
There's one Easter egg. See if you can find it.
All right.
Probably
You got to
It's
drink.
obscure. It's pretty
You
obscure.
got to drink that shot right there if you can't find it.
Born on Poets and Pioneers. Is that it?
Top of it's on the coin.
Oh yeah. Well,
EC, you have good eyes.
I was playing with it.
It's on the top of it.
let's
It's
see.
birth year.
Oh, be damn.
Right there. The fans love those. I see a lot of fans at shows, and it's like a challenge coin.
Yeah.
You have a military or police work, but that's kind of what the idea was. Is you finish the
That's pretty
bottle and you
cool.
take that out and you have that. So.
All right, Ari, am I tasting these?
Yeah, if
Are we
you
So
want.
tasting
what, tell me what this is.
Yeah, so
somebody explain to me
those
what
are
this is.
each of the individual components in Legacy 3. It says on the bottom there should be a cheat code. That's where the cheat sheet is on
And
the
you
bottom.
mean by components, you're talking about?
One is a Tennessee whiskey from a bourbon mash. One is an Indian single malt, and one is a 18-year-old
Legacy 2 or
Canadian
3.
rye.
Okay.
Legacy.
I'm going to
You
pick
said
out the
3.
right.
Oh, sorry, Legacy 2.
Legacy 2.
Well, all this talking about blending, I pick barrels and stuff for my whiskey club Marzipan.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a blend, a gypsy blend.
Have you ever done a blend?
Not for the club.
Really?
No, never have. I've done blends before, but I've never done one.
Have you ever
for the
done one
club.
live on camera?
I don't know. I've
Well,
done
we
a
would
lot of
love to do
drinking
one.
I've done a lot of
can
drinking
blend live
on
on
camera.
camera.
Why not?
What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. No matches.
Oh my God.
But we would love that as well. So.
that
That
single
good?
malt's delicious.
Isn't that Indian
Yeah.
single malt something?
It's excellent.
It's beautiful, and each of the components are beautiful by themselves, but it's always interesting to see how they interact with each other in different ratios.
Gorgeous.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. Hell, you could bottle that by itself. The problem with Indian single malts is like it's kind of like rye whiskey versus bourbon. People will always buy the barbon over the rye. The market is so weird.
The market is strange.
I'm sensitive to rye though too. Like I always, Ari and I have talked about this, where when I taste something and it's got a higher rye content, I always attribute it to hotness or spiciness. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And sometimes I'm not I don't love that as much. You know, it depends on how it finishes for me in the mouthfeel. We talked about that early on.
Well,
I'm sensitive to rye.
You cut your teeth on Jack Daniels.
I did, which is not rye.
Yeah, you're going. They have rye in their.
But it's really not. You know, it's more mellow corn. You know.
Yeah,
you're
getting so much like.
Oh, that is nice. That is
sweetness, molasses. You know.
Yeah, and rye is really different if you age it in New American Oak in Kentucky versus in a cold climate in used barrels like in Canada. It expresses totally differently.
Delicious.
We've been talking about doing a rye, Ari and I. So it's on the map, the road map.
So when you all are buying these, what's the market telling you with acquiring stuff at wholesale with like Indian malt versus Tennessee whiskey and stuff? What's going up? What's coming down?
Everything's coming down.
It's an interesting time.
It's a fascinating time. I can answer a little of this because I get so involved in it. But the market got flooded by private equity. You know, these guys came in, they were buying barrels and thinking they could sit on them and sell them, and so the market got saturated. I think more production came in as a result, and it impacted us all as producers, as as people that are making the products, suppliers. It's a glut that's going to have to come out. But as in any commodity business, prices go up, more production comes in, more money comes in, goes up, comes back down. You ride the cycle out, goes back up again. But so everything's kind of coming down. You got a lot of producers that are going out of business that bought too much. But it's a good time to buy.
Particularly American whiskey.
American whiskey and the Indian single malt. Nobody was buying it. We were shocked. Like, oh, can't believe we can find this.
Well, yeah. Well, we were fortunate that we were one of the first companies that was offered the opportunity to purchase it. So
that's great.
We know a lot of the international brokers. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, the international whiskeys haven't diminished in cost as much as the American, because there's less of a glut internationally.
Less private equity.
Yeah, less private equity as well.
Well, will I get the Indian single malt for my blending? The blending thing we're going to do?
Good question.
That means no.
Good question.
I think that means no.
Yeah, I mean, that's the.
Does that mean no?
There's a little bit.
There's a little bit?
There's a little bit.
All right.
You know what?
Eric, will you blend this with me?
Sure.
Are you in?
Let me.
I'm in with you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I've got to go to the back and grab a couple blending components.
Let's do it.
And I will include some Indian single malt. This is going to be awesome. I'm very excited about this. So we do have.
Now, somebody explain to me what we're doing here.
We're going to blend. We've got a couple whiskeys that we can taste through.
We're going to taste as we go, or we're going to.
Yeah,
we're just going to kind of eyeball this.
No, I've got a graduated cylinder. We're going to do this scientifically.
Okay.
I'm going to write down all the proportions on my phone. So
that's the Indian?
Yeah, so we have 3 components here.
Put a lot of that in it.
It's so good, right?
But remember, a little goes a long way. So we have 3 components. One is a 36% 6-year-old Indiana bourbon finished in cherry bounce barrels. So finished in barrels that previously held a cherry liqueur.
Is cherry bounce like we used to call cherry moonshine?
Yeah.
Is that cherry bounce?
Well, so this cherry bounce is made with fresh Bing and Montmorency cherries and whiskey.
This is the original. Cherry Bounce is thought to be the original flavored whiskey.
Okay,
we're talking.
So we used to
like
call. I grew up in
1800s.
Western North Carolina, so we used to call Cherry Bounce. It was a cherry moonshine.
Yeah,
this is really good.
Yeah.
And then we have a bourbon finished in Mizunara, and we have some Indian single malt.
Okay.
So imagine dried cherry character, that sort of layered spice from Mizunara, and then the Indian single malt.
It's a hell of a way to do a Thursday.
Why not, right? So we're going to start, just for starters, let's try a 90% Mizunara, 10% Indian single malt.
Okay.
Let's just see what that's like.
That's going to be trippy.
It's going to be trippy.
Yeah.
And it's, you said, first tune in the studio sometimes has the right energy. Sometimes that happens with the blends, but you never know.
You never know.
So this is the graduated cylinder. This is the favorite tool of whiskey blenders.
So we know you love to drink the whiskey. How much does he bring you in on this process?
Not very much. He sent, which is okay because I don't know that I can help on this part. But I think that he sends these little teeny tiny bottles that show up, and they have Whiskey Gypsy logo on them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like 5 or 6 different things, and they're totally blind. So then I'll go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll talk about what they taste like. But I don't know what's going into those when they come to me. I'm tasting them and going, I taste this,
They
I
come
taste
in
that.
A, B, C.
Yeah, they come in blind.
And then
so
we do a video and do tasting notes.
he gets to do his own thing on that. What are we doing? We're voting
This
here?
is the
What are we doing?
Mizunara.
So this is the
with
first one
Indian
we're going to
single.
try, right? So this is 90% bourbon finished with Mizunara, 10% Indian single malt.
And that's 8-year Mizunara.
It's a 6-year bourbon. The Mizunara was harvested after 200 years. So it's a really, really fantastic Mizunara.
Yeah, that saw some battles, I bet.
Holy shit. Very smooth.
It's pretty damn good.
Wow.
It's pretty damn good.
Holy shit.
I'm gonna be honest with you, pretty damn good.
Wow.
All right.
We might have found our next legacy.
It's pretty damn good, man.
Hold on now. This is
It's
a Club
by- I
Marzipan pick.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Did we sign this away yet?
Yeah, he's over here trying to steal my barrel.
I'm going to modify it just to try it. You don't want to gild the lily.
I want to keep that right there. I want to try that again.
Yeah.
But we're going to come back to that one.
Wow.
And
That's freaking good.
I just want to try it one time, and we're going to add like 10% of the cherry
Can I
bounce.
tell you? So
Yeah.
So my whole world of tasting came from learning taste mindfulness when I got back from Iraq and learning. One of the therapy sessions I was in for PTSD was about teaching me how to taste, and it just opened up my whole world. And Marzipan, my club name is Marzipan. They greeted me today with some special marzipans that they had made in Michigan. And I feel marzipan in the front, middle part of my tongue and on the sides. And this is just lighting up my little marzipan area on my tongue. And I get so much marzipan in this. It's insane.
What's not to love about marzipan?
That's excellent.
Yeah.
But I just love that one. It's gonna be a hard one
I agree
for
with you.
This is
me
80-10-10 now?
to choose over.
This is just we replaced 10% of the Mizunara with 10% cherry bounce finish to see if this dark fruit component would add a little bit of color. So this is what a blending studio looks like, right? With glassware all over the place. Usually we're a little bit better with labeling.
This is an accurate setting for my house as well, or my office.
So this has how much of the cherry bounce in it?
10%. So we replaced. So it's 10% cherry bounce finished. We might get it. It might be too light because the Indian single malt is a very strong flavor. And the Mizunara is a very strong flavor too.
I'm already smelling the big difference.
Really? Yeah.
Huge. Yeah, I don't think these married well. It smells like a bad decision.
Doesn't smell like a lot.
Yeah. Smells like a bad decision in a trailer park.
I like the first one a little bit more.
Yeah, I like it a lot more.
Yep, nope. It's amazing. That is amazing.
You know, I'll split my tongue in two,
Amazing.
half cherry bounce, half
I know.
Mizunara. It's a weird,
A
they're fighting
small
with each other.
amount makes a massive change. And we find this all the time where you can change 1% of a blend.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's a totally different beverage.
These are night, day.
Huge.
Two different things.
Hugely different.
Two different things.
So here's the question. This is one of those situations where the first one you try seems to be more compelling than the second one. Do we want to modify the 2 ingredients from the first blend?
I want more. I want to try. I would
little
like to
more
try
Indian?
more of the Indian.
Can we go 70-30?
We're going to do 70-30.
We have enough, right?
We have enough.
I promise you.
This is all official.
So that means in a 50 ml cylinder, we're going to do 15. The other thing that becomes more difficult the more you blend is the math.
Now, why is that? Is it because you're drinking?
I think that has a little something to do with it. So we're going to go 15 Indian single malt. So we're going to take it from 10.
Which I said I was going to spit. I haven't spit once yet.
Yeah, you might need to hang out for a little while.
Yeah, I'll hang out. I'll have some dinner.
And then Mizunara for the 70%, 35 milliliters. Here we go. Sorry if I'm spilling.
I'm
on
keeping.
you.
I'm keeping
Do
the first
a
one.
comparative.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you real fast.
Wow,
Wow.
that changed it.
That's spicier on the nose.
This is. You all have like a secret weapon with this Indian single malt.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
it's Fred's barrel.
No, this is y'all.
I go number 2. I like number 2 more. I think
You
it's
all are
smoother.
official, tasters for Club Marzipan here, so you're helping me pick.
I actually like the second one. I like the more of the Indian. And I love this. This was really good. I like that one better. That's my opinion.
So the Indian's going to vote for the Japanese. I like the Mizunara better.
Yeah, first one better. You?
So I actually like the first one better.
I like the first one that has more of the Mizunara character.
Nobody's gonna buy it. That's great. Let's go with it.
Well, how about we do both of them? We'll buy both of them. I'll buy both blends.
Do we have enough for both?
We're gonna
Put my name-
see
put
how
my
much
name
we
on the
have
second.
for both of them.
I gotta save room for my Diet Coke.
So when I'm going back and forth between these two, the fact that I love one has to do with it edges it out in spice a little bit.
Yeah.
Over 2, which explains why Eric doesn't like it as much as 1. But he loved 1.
I love
but
1.
Then he had 2.
I love 1.
I think he just likes the Indian single malt.
Yeah, I do like the Indian single malt.
I think that's.
You could almost go 100 and 0.
Yeah, I think
the
that's
Indian
it.
single malt. Yes, I agree with that.
The Indian single malt is good. The bourbon finished in Mizunara oak is also really good. So it helps to play with great ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
amen.
is part of our whole library of ingredients. This is what we do. We just geek out and taste all this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, those are great. If we can do both barrel or both blends,
We're good.
do it.
We're good.
Put me on
Club
that
Marzipan,
one.
you're good.
I love it.
It doesn't have to be the first or the third. You can just do them all.
Well, it's also, we're having fun here. That's what whiskey's all about.
That's exactly right.
I know y'all are in the business of it, and you get caught up in the P&Ls and everything, and the state of the market. But y'all, this is fun.
I got to be honest. When we talked about this, we were up in your place in North Carolina, and a lot of whiskeys later. But we said to each other, if this isn't fun, we're not doing it.
That's right.
It had
We're
to be
out.
fun first, because neither one. I didn't need this business. He didn't need the business. This was supposed to be about doing things that are fun, that are we can do with our friends, that we can enjoy with meeting new people. So it really was it better be about fun. As soon as it stops being fun, we're out.
And that's normally when it works, because when people try to get into, I'm going to get into this to make money, that's not exactly the right sentiment to get into something.
Yeah.
You get into it because it's what you enjoy, it's your passion, and then if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. You had fun doing it anyway. So I think that's all. Even in music, that's always, if I had never had a hit song, I would still be going home tonight after I worked whatever job I had and pick up a guitar, and I'd play that guitar, because I enjoy playing that guitar. And I think as long as you enjoy what you're doing, then that's what you should be doing.
Yeah. Here's to that, man. Finding what you love.
I'm going to drink the number 2.
Cheers.
Everybody drinking number 1, I'm drinking number 2.
Guess what? You can buy number 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, what a treat this was. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for allowing me. This was the first blend you all have done for someone, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
For like a barrel pick?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you for allowing my whiskey club, Club Marzipan, to have this. They are the most educated, awesome people ever. So, they'll really appreciate this. And they all love your music, too. When I told everyone I was sitting down with you, they were like, oh my God, my wife loves him. I love him. All kinds of special stories there. I mean, I think a couple of them might be the aliens you saw, though, in the backstage.
It's possible. It's possible.
Hanging out with me, the other alien.
But the truth is, music brings people together.
So does that.
Whiskey brings people together, and we need more of that in this world.
We got it.
So
Thank you, amigo, for having us.
thank you so much. I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it very
Big
much.
fan. Love what you
Yeah,
all
you're
are
really
doing.
great to be with
Ari,
you.
always been a fan, brother. So cheers to you all, and
Cheers.
thank you so much for coming on and
Cheers.
doing this.
Thanks
blend.
for having us.
Cheers.